It's another beautiful day. I'm out of my kind of midday 12 o'clock stroll almost. Um, and I've been pondering, I've been thinking a lot recently. The sun is right in my eyes. But it is a nice warmth on this cold July day. And I've been thinking about this idea coming out of the big recent event in my life was the breakup that I had mentioned. But I had realized, I had this kind of thought about like a week after, but it was something kind of like a slow realization to get to, and it was something that was still like hard to truly accept, but I have kind of really accepted it, especially at the end of this week, which is when you have someone in your life, or someone who was in your life, that in my case an ex, but it could be a friend, it could be a family member, someone who was incredibly close to you, that you feel, still this very deep connection to, your heart, or you feel the phantom of this deep connection. There is no more connection, really, especially if you've gone like no contact. Things just ended really badly. You want to feel that there is still this connection, but really it's gone. And I think the thing that really hit me recently was realizing that putting so much mental focus, emotions, anger, betrayal, sadness, longing onto someone who isn't, an active member of your life, an active force in your life, someone who's not coming back, and who you don't even really, you don't talk to, is a massive and complete waste of time. And it's harsh. I think it's harsh to realize that, and it's harsh to be told that. But like, say if you have an ex, I don't know, and in case like, just like a hypothetical, say they like start dating someone right after the breakup or something, why do you care? Why does it matter? You feel in your mind that there is some kind of continuation or continuity. That's what I was trying to find. Some kind of continuity for the relationship you had. But when the relationship's over, when your friendship ends, your romance ends, like the breakup happens, there is no continuity. That kind of the bounds and the boundaries and the rules of that relationship are gone, because the relationship is gone. So like, your ex could be this could suck. Your ex could be fucking 50 dudes a day, like the day of the breakup, and it doesn't matter. It does not matter. It does not matter at all. It's completely irrelevant to you and your life and everything. The second that break happens, like, there is nothing that should affect you, and it's fair that it does affect you. I mean, you still have the feeling of the emotions within the moment, but you have to come to the realization that it doesn't matter. And if you spend so much time, it's like after my breakup, I spent a lot of time just being like, man, I'm so pissed about XYZ. She did this, she did this, she did this, she's doing this, probably. You start mythologizing, as I said in that first video, creating this mythos in your brain of what the person is doing. But it doesn't matter. Like what the fuck what are you even doing? You're not even, at one point you were an active participant of life, and then after an event like this, you end up becoming like a reviewer or a critiquer of another person's life experience. You're not even focused on yourself anymore. You're looking over and being like, oh well, that's morally wrong. Who gives a fuck? Who cares? They could become a meth addict. They have to, or anything. They could be fucking 50 dudes. They could do anything. They could change entirely as a person in ways that you find completely antithetical to how you imagine that they should be. But it doesn't matter. It does not matter what what they do. The only thing that matters in the post-breakup world is you, really. And I think that's kind of the realization that I've had, especially, and I think a lot of people, like, it's like reading on breakup forums online, out of curiosity. A lot of people struggle with this, I feel, where a lot of people continue to have seeing it on Instagram as well, like a lot of people continue to have this kind of like, oh, but I saw my ex is posting photos with some guy like a week after the breakup. Who gives a fuck? Why are you even looking at their posts at all? You're just torturing yourself for no reason. Like, why do you care? You were at one point, as I said before, you were at one point a player on the field with everyone. But now, after this, you've decided to go up to the stands and you're just watching. You're watching and you're being like, oh, that's a foul. This is inoptimal play. Bro, what are you doing, bro? You are the fucking main character of your story. You're the A-list actor that everyone's coming to see in the blockbuster that is your life. You know, you're not here and living the life you have. You're only here, as I said before, we're all gonna die. Morbid. But you're only here once, you know. You only get this experience once. You know, the movie that is your life, the great fucking novel that is your life, like, only happens one time, and you are the author of it. You're the main character of it, and you're the person everyone's there to see. You're not like a reviewer or a spectator to someone else's experience. You're not who cares about what they're doing. What are you doing? You know, what are you doing? You're complaining about them, maybe. You're thinking about them. You're like contemplating, oh, they could be doing this, they could be doing this. Oh, maybe this was happening in the relationship. You might be overthinking it, being like, oh, who fucking cares, dude? It's done. Like, the unfortunate reality of a situation like that is you just have to move on. No matter how much, like, even if you really want to get back together with them, you just have to move on. And in that case, it's kind of like, even if you're dead set on wanting to get back together with someone, counterproductively, the best option is to, in a weird way, to accept moving on. Because then in the case that if you do end up getting back together with them at some point, then the first you who, Jesus Christ, birds, the first you that wanted to get with them, you know, is validated or vindicated. But, you know, in the most likely eventuality that that doesn't happen, then you're fine. You've moved on. So you just have to move on. No matter what you're thinking, no matter the situation, you just have to accept. You are the person you have to worry about. You're the person who you have to care about. You don't have to, this person's not a part of your life anymore. This person's not they're not a factor. They're not an actor in the play anymore. They're not, you know, they're not a star in the show. They're gone. They were a seasonal special guest for a little bit. And now that character's gone. They've been written out. Not retconned, but they're like, you know, they have their influence in the story, but they're gone. But the story goes on, you know. The plot continues. And you need to drive it forward. And you cannot drive it forward if you're continuing to harken on and think about like stuff from earlier seasons in your life, to continue this ridiculous analogy. But like, yeah, I don't think there is anything really else that you should be or can be doing in a situation like this. And for anything, I'm using like a breakup, like a romance breakup as an example, but it can be for friendships. This can be for family members, or anything really, like any kind of big life event that feels like something in the past that has hurt you deeply and you're continuing to think about. I mean, the unfortunate reality of it is just there's nothing else you can really do but continue going forward, you know. I think I used the hiking analogy in the last video, but it's like, you know, you're on the 8-hour-long hike and the campsite's coming up. There's no giving up. You just have to walk. The hiking just has to continue. You just don't give up. You can't turn back. You know, the train is always moving forward, and it doesn't matter if someone left at a station to get on a different train. You can't be wondering like where their journey will take them, because you're on your own journey. You know, you've got your own worries, you've got your own goals, you've got your own ambitions, you've got your own day-to-day. And I think that's the thing you have to ask yourself. As I said before, what are you doing? What are you doing? You might be getting it out of your system in a sense of like complaining about them, but what is that? It's like, how much time are you going to spend doing that? Like, what are you doing with your life? And in my case, like, I don't know, I started going to the gym like the week after the breakup. I went back to doing fencing. I write a lot. I got into poetry. Well, I got into poetry before that. But this just continued my desire to keep doing poetry because it was a good emotional outlet. You know, you journal, you go for walks, as I'm doing now. I try to go for a walk every day. It's just very, very scenic. I listen to music. It's nice, clear your head. And eventually, as the days go by, you just stop thinking about them. And especially if you're doing things, you know, and especially as you get into that mindset that I'm just going to live my life. I'm the main character. They don't matter. And even, I mean, it's hard, like, in the sense that, like, you can know that, but then truly getting out of that might not be an instant, you know, like, it might not be an instant kind of, it's not a switch you can flip. You know, healing is a process and it takes time. But when you get through that first step, it becomes so much easier and so much more fulfilling. And like, you just feel, when I had this realization, it felt like a literal physical weight off my shoulder. That, like, take this off. That it just felt freeing, in a sense, to realize that, you know, like, why would I care about this person in my case, like, I was in a long distance relationship, so they're not even physically near me. This person on the other side of this continent that I live on, live doing fucking who knows what, with who knows what. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. It doesn't matter at all. The only thing that matters is what I'm doing. The only thing that matters is my goals, my struggles in my life, the people in my life who've stuck with me through it all, and supported me, and care about me. You know, the things I want to do, the things I'm actively doing, the ambitions I have, the small creative outlets, the hobbies, my job, my studies, like, my passions. It's just, that's the only thing that really matters at this point. And you cannot sit and just be like, oh, as I said before, not to continue harkening on about it, but you cannot just be a permanent reviewer of someone else's life experience. You cannot dedicate yourself to this other person. And you might think at points that, like, oh, well, what am I without them, or something. But I think that's a massive disservice to yourself. You are an incredibly beautiful and amazing individual, and you may have, in the relationship, tied yourself to this other person intrinsically in your identity, but you were a completely functioning, independent person beforehand, you know, and you've had periods in your life where you've been able to get out of, you know, you've been able to assert yourself as an individual. You've been able to, you know who you are, the things you like, the things you want to do. So when you get out of a relationship like this, it might be like, how can I be single? How can I do this as an individual now that I'm not part of a partnership? In the case of a romance, but it could also be extended to like a friendship, or, you know, as I said before. But like, how can you do this alone? But you have done it alone. Even in my case, I'm 24 and my relationship was 2 years, so I've done it alone for like 22 years of my life, essentially. Like, how can you go on from that? You can't. You slowly realize who you were, you know. You might not even really be actively thinking about it, but the second the breakup happens, the puzzle pieces are already reforming. The normalcy of being single, the normalcy of their absence is already slowly beginning to be an accepted reality, even if it's really fucking odd at first, certainly. But you just get over it. And especially if you're young like me, like, you might think that, you know, I'm in my early mid-20s, or people who are like younger than that, or my age, or even older. It's like, you might think, well, fuck, how will I ever meet anyone again? This is such a massive fucking loss. But like a lot of the time, this is just a footnote. This whole thing, my whole experience here is a footnote in my life, that maybe I might not even really remember that much in, like, I don't know, what will I think of this in a decade, you know, if I've met someone else or multiple people and I've had different relationships and life changes. What will I think of this relationship a decade from now? I might not even think about it at all. I might think about it and be like, oh, that was kind of a funny moment, lol. Oh, I remember that was kind of sweet. Or, oh, I remember that was fucking deranged. Yeah, you don't know. A decade from that, and a decade from that, and a decade from that. Life is long, and a lot happens. And I've been thinking a lot as well about just the nature of how you meet people. And you might think that, wow, how am I ever going to meet anyone like X person again? And in my case, I met this person, my ex, through like a friend who I had continued to stay in contact with despite a bunch of random shit that happened between us. He just happened to message them randomly on a TikTok comment section. They just happened to join the Discord I was in. They just happened to stay. We just happened to talk a lot. They happened to visit my city one time to see my mates. Guy biking. They just lost my train of thought there for a second. I just happened to visit them. We just happened to start dating. Like, there's a lot of just happened to, a lot of insane, like, coincidences almost for how you meet these people. And it's especially like my closest friends now are not my closest friends from 2 years ago. A lot of my closest friends from 2 years ago I don't even talk to anymore. And a lot of my closest friends from years before that I don't even talk to anymore. I only talked to 2 people from primary school. And I was close with a shit ton of people in primary school going into high school. So, like, you don't know who's going to be with you throughout the whole journey. We're all on this path, essentially. We're all walking towards from beginning to end. And sometimes the paths converge and you meet someone that you think you're going to be walking the whole journey with. But that path diverges, or it can be amicably or it can be harshly and badly, but sometimes the path diverges, and maybe it will reconverge later, but maybe it won't, and you just can't worry about that. You have to worry about, or not worry, you have to care about the things that you're doing, the path that you're on, and you'll see more people converge onto your path, and you'll see more people leave your path, and that's just life. It's an unfortunate reality of life. Well, I wouldn't really say it's unfortunate. I don't think there's necessarily anything bad about people coming and leaving in your life. It's just how it is. There's nothing good or bad about it. Sometimes it can be good, sometimes it can be bad. But, loss and finding people is a constant. You'll be constantly meeting new people. You think, wow, this guy's awesome. This chick is amazing. I think I like her. And then it might go somewhere, might not. Maybe we'll meet someone new. That's just how it is. I don't really have much else to add on to this, but just that, to reiterate, you are the main character of your story. There's no one else who can drive your plot. There's no one else who gets to decide what you do, good or bad. I mean, you can do something that everyone else is telling you shouldn't do this. It's a stupid idea. But you can do it. No one else gets to tell you otherwise. It's up to you to decide the good and bad decisions you make. But it is not, it is not something you should do. And it's not something that's good for you in any sense to spend your life and make the decision to focus entirely on one person who's not an aspect of it anymore, not a character in it. I used the TV show analogy earlier, but constantly wishing for the special guest from seasons before. It's just not coming back. You need to focus on you. I think that's it. Well, have a good day.